Hello, my name is Katie Mazio, and for my intercultural stretching project, I chose to attend a West African dance workshop that's actually by my house in Long Beach. It's called the Homeland Cultural Arts Center. I wanted an experience that would push me out of my cultural and social comfort zone, but also give me a chance to learn something new and expand my knowledge. And as a Mexican, Italian, Christian woman, I've never engaged in West African dancing before, anything like that. So it was definitely a stretch for me, completely going out of something different. And I was curious about this form of cultural expression because it's very rooted in African history, rhythm, and tradition. When I arrived to the Homeland Cultural Arts Center, Saturday around 2 to 4 p.m. The studio was very big, bright. There's a lot of people in there. There was already music going on, getting ready for the class to start. And I met the instructor, and I still have a hard time pronouncing his name. Bayet greeted me warmly and assured me that I didn't need any prior experience for this class to take, and I was still a bit nervous because I just didn't know what to expect, and it was just a whole different environment for me. As welcoming as it was, I just felt like I didn't fit in, but also before attending, I did do some research on the West African dance, so I can understand kind of how everything works before I step in there. And I learned that the dances from the countries like Mali, Senegal are connected to ritual storytelling and communal celebration. And the rhythms and drums are very meaningful, and each beat often corresponds to a specific event and a storytelling. And I also called the center in advance to make sure that it was okay that I could go there, and I told them I'm doing a project and just to have to be able to experience something completely different that I've never experienced before. I also read about the instructor's history and passion for African American traditions, West African traditions. And this, I feel this helped me prepare, and I just kind of had a little bit of background knowledge before entering this. And I also wanted to learn too about different types of things, how the dynamic of the class worked, just so I could be the most respectful and be as present in the session that I could be. And I think once the class began, I quickly realized I was in a space where more participants did have cultural ties to the dance. Also, I had known one of my friends that I played tennis with, that she's from Senegal, and she's been to something like this too. So I did kind of feel out of place at first, but it also did stretch me beyond my comfort zone. And using Sorrell's concept of framing, I recognized my own expectations and my preconceptions, and I also admire the African dance for the energy. And I had always seen it more of something being entertainment, but it's definitely way more than that, which I ended up realizing throughout the class. And I did try to, while I was in the class, set aside my assumptions and things that I had in my head before coming in, to just fully immerse myself in the experience. Our instructor, he did emphasize community connection on earth, and he explained how each rhythm had a purpose for some harvest celebrations. And other participants did share about their practices and their identity and culture and background, which is very cool. Also, this workshop did challenge me to step out my comfort zone and embrace learning in a new way. I felt in Revelation 7:9, where people from every tribe, nation, language all stand together in worship, and I feel it expresses how God calls us to all come together and praise Him. But in conclusion, I feel this experience like really taught me something, and I'm truly grateful for it and would love to branch out more in the future.